Awaken Beauties, finally, it's here. The truth to empower women to true inner beauty through a healthy mind and inner biology. I am your hostess, Cassandra Keogh, a 20-year salon owner, organic beauty product formulator, positive mind management, and clinical hypnotherapist. And I am here to help you stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back. Sponsored by evoquebeauty.com. evoquebeauty.com. Now, let's get to it. Welcome to the Awaken Beauty Podcast. I am Cassandra, your organic beauty, positive mind management, and biofeedback practitioner. And today we're going to talk about feelings. We all feel the feels, and the issues are always in the tissues, right? So in this current real-time situation where, if you're listening to this, we're in this lockdown, we're in this holding space of the unknown. And the mind can do all kinds of crazy things when it's in the unknown. And in fact, when we go back into our imagination, we can then amplify all of those unknown thoughts of what we would maybe call catastrophizing. We can amplify it up to 200 to 500, up to 800%. And we just start going in these feedback loops. And so our thinking, really, it does start in our thinking, but when we think and then we feel, it becomes this big woven mess that it can feel very hard to get out of. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. And the first kind of thing I just want to explain is that when I talk about an emotion or a feeling, I use those words interchangeably. And I'm talking about a physical sensation in your body. So we often will say, I feel like, and then have a long thought. I just feel like everyone is freaking out and the world is coming to an end. That's not a feeling, it's a thought. And it's a sentence in your mind. And a feeling is the physical sensation that happens in your body when you think that thought. So when you think everyone is freaking out and the world is ending and we're all going to die, tell me, how does that feel in your body? If you feel anxious, if you feel afraid, if you feel sad, those are all feelings. Those are physical sensations that exist in your body. Now, some of us are very plugged into our bodies. I know I am a person like that. I feel everything energetically. I can sense things before they happen, and I just know exactly what feelings feel like. So some of us have spent our whole lives trying not to feel our feelings and trying maybe not to be in our bodies. But your feelings happen in your body. There's no way around it. That's how you know that they exist. That's what your body is telling you as a warning sign to whether it's a thought or something that doesn't feel right. If you're around a certain person, the body knows. So when you feel anxious or you feel overwhelmed or you feel scared or you feel guilty or happy or you feel loving thoughts, those are all physical sensations that are happening in your body that are caused by a thought. Now, the thought goes through your brain, and then what happens is that your body responds to it. It's not the other way around. We don't feel and then think. So your brain releases certain hormones or tells your body to react in a different way in which creates your feelings. So that emotion, that feeling, it's a physical sensation in your body, and it's created by your thoughts. So there's a couple of concepts that I want to help you with today that are going to really help you navigate this time of just such a heightened emotion, which is perfectly normal because we don't know what's ahead, and it's okay to have emotions around that. And the first is something you've probably heard of before, which is that feelings are fatal. I want to explain really what I mean here. And just because it often feels like they're going to be, meaning the feelings, or it feels like feelings are fatal, when you have a feeling, your primitive brain doesn't really understand what's happening. It's a negative feeling. It's freaked out. And so I always talk about Dan Siegel's brain model, where the limbic system, imagine your wrist, and then your amygdala is the palm of your hand, and then your fingers curling down that create that fist. When you flip out, your prefrontal cortex is completely out of the picture. So you can't think straight. Can't think clearly. Your analytical brain is totally out of the picture, and this primitive brain kicks into full force. It's watching for danger. And that's the reason that we resist our emotions so much. Because we don't want to feel anxious. We don't want to feel sad. We don't want to feel afraid. And so we push all of these emotions away. And we try to talk ourselves out of them, or distract ourselves from them, or we try to numb ourselves, or we drink, or we eat, or we smoke, or we shop, or we do whatever we do, the do's, the doings, so that we can't stay present with the present time and what we're thinking and feeling. Or the other thing we try to do is try to be kind to ourselves. And we want to just kind of reason ourselves out of them. And we go to so many lengths to not experience what we are just physical sensations in our bodies. They truly cannot hurt us. They cannot harm us. They're just feelings. And so the mind, we always talk about secondary gains when we're talking about, the analytical mind is, there's always a payoff. In trying to reason something, the mind just always wants to be right. And so if it needs you to worry, it wants you to worry, and it's going to need to be right. So you're going to worry. And if you don't act on them, and you are able to allow them on the contrast to just exist in your body, you will find that there are, number one, they actually will probably disappear and just flow through you pretty quickly. Or number two, you'll find out that they can't hurt you. They're just physical sensations, and they're not real. So if you think about all of this energy that you put into freaking out and catastrophizing and what ifs and unknowns, and you start to feel anxious and not wanting to feel anxious, and you start to resist, and then the anxiety goes up higher, or you try to push it away. It shouldn't be there. There's just so much suffering, and there's so much drama going on that we just can't calm down. We get desperate to know that we have to have this feeling that you're having. Just it creates a normalcy. It creates a feedback loop. And then that becomes your new normal. And so your energy tanks, your vibration is actually in a frenetic vibration, and actually lowers your vibration altogether, because your immune system goes down. And this is the very thing that we don't want to happen when we're looking at something like a global epidemic that we are right now. And that's every day. So meaning keeping your immune system high, keeping your thought processes focused and in the truth. So if you think about all the kind of energy that you put into this freaking out and feeling anxious, when you compare it to something like having a headache or a leg cramp, okay, it's not much fun, but you don't freak out. You're having a sensation. Something's telling your body that you're in pain, but we don't resist it. We don't run around like a chicken with our head cut off saying, I have a migraine. I need to get away from it. Or I sprained my ankle. I just can't stand it. It's an impulse. And so, we try to distract ourselves, but again, it goes back to, this is just a sensation. So I really want to encourage you, even though I know it is really scary, because your primitive brain doesn't believe it. It is only there to protect you. It wants to be right. And it's scary to approach your feelings as if they can't hurt you, and it's totally okay to have them. That's all I want to say, is that it's okay to have your feelings. Part of the problem is that our primitive brain associates negative emotion with actual death, actual fear of actual death, which is so far stretched, but that's just how deep it goes. In, the primitive brain was the days of hunt and gather. I mean, they had to protect their life. So it is that old 300 million years ago brain jumping up, wanting to run away from, the saber-toothed tiger, wanting to save its life, or maybe it's running at the saber-toothed tiger, wanting to get the piece of meat that you both are fighting for, whatever that is. It just raises the stakes so much more than we really need it to be. And if you're feeling anxious, what does that feel like in your body? It feels, for some people, it's like your heart is going faster. And for some people, you may feel hot or your hands feel clammy. And that's okay. Those sensations are going to give a physical reaction in the body. It's okay. You have survived and you have beat the beating heart rate or the clammy hands. I remember when I was in math class when I was a teenager, and I had a big crush on my math teacher, and every single time he'd ask me a question, my face would get bright red, my hands would get clammy. And I remember one day, and these are the feelings, right? Like, oh my God, I'm going to die right now. And he turned to me and he goes, and you know how like everything totally fuzzes out and all you can see is that one person in front of you and you're just you can't even breathe. And he said, Cass, buckets of ice, buckets of ice. And I'm thinking back and I'm like, at the time I was thinking, you're such an ass. I'm so embarrassed. But he was so sweet. And he was giving me like the contrast of the physicality of trying to calm me down, feeling that I was freaking out. But I was going to survive one more math problem. We're going to survive one more day of there's enough bread at the store. We will survive. We can go out and take a walk. I think one of the big reasons that we try to resist our negative emotion is because we think that it shouldn't be there, or that we think we're supposed to be happy all the time. And we think that human life should be good. It should feel good. And I don't even know where we get this idea, because my human experience has certainly not been that. Now, I create good in my life. Every day I intentionally create good in my life. And I do that by servicing others. I do that by loving others. And in turn, that feeds my self-needs. And nobody's human life has ever just always felt good. This is not what the human life is supposed to be or how it was designed to be. And we now know that because it just isn't. And it never has been. And so being human means having a mix of positive and negative emotions through our whole life. You're always going to have both. So if we just stop believing that feeling negative emotions, or that we should stop feeling the fear or stop giving into the fear, or not be sad or not be angry, I'll confess, I've been really pissed about the situation. And I have to take the responsibility of not blaming others for my current situation, because this is a consequence of nature taking over. Now, whoever didn't stop of it, or whoever is behind it, or if it's a bioweapon, or what they're trying to hide in the hospitals, it's none of my business. My business is to make sure I'm keeping myself safe, make sure I'm keeping my clients safe, making sure that I am focusing on the positive things and being very efficient and proactive on serving my community, serving myself with self-care, and making sure that even now my brain can go to negativity and say, oh my God, I don't want to do. I'm so overwhelmed with all the stuff I want to do that I never could get done before. The brain's always going to come up with the next thing. So, if we stop thinking that we always have to be happy, or we have to shut out the fear, or we shouldn't feel a certain way, it's just not practical. And we have to ride the waves and at the same time be the submarine. I would say, be the submarine, ride the waves, turbulent times, but don't take your bucket of water and reach outside your submarine and start pulling in the water so you have a sunk ship. That is our responsibility to make sure, yes, we stay clear, we stay calm, but we also bring in the tools to make sure that we're being present in our life, not going back in our imagination, not going back into the past, not pulling in that old safety and security mechanism that comes in, and all the addictions rise up, and all of the fearful thoughts and all of the past pains, and it's all right in front of us. It's just simply not necessary. So the underlying headache is not such a big deal when you think about it. It's a reaction to the headache that's causing even more suffering. So put it into context. Same thing with your emotions. Having a negative emotion, feeling afraid, feeling sad, feeling whatever that is, it's not a big deal. But when we start to think, oh no, I shouldn't feel this way, or I have to get rid of it, it's just really unpractical, and it makes us even more frustrated because it's not a part of the human experience. So the first step is always to just work on allowing the feeling to be there. I like to practice thinking, what if I just was willing to feel however this is going to feel right now? Examine it, look at it, kind of like a fly flying around on all different corners of the ceiling, all different perspectives. Frame it up. So much of the distress and stress comes from not being willing to have the experience that we are already having and can't stop having right now. So what if I was willing to have this experience? Ask yourself that. What if I was willing to feel sad? What if I was willing to feel anxious? What if I was willing to feel angry? Not necessarily acting on it, but what if I just let myself feel that in my physical body and had those sensations? If I was just willing to do that. And what you'll find is that the more you practice this, the more you'll be able to allow the emotion in, feel like the submarine, ride the wave, and the quicker those emotions will pass by. And you'll start to identify that you are not your emotions and the emotions are not you. And then once you have allowed them to pass and they flow by, that's when you can actually start to shift them. That's when you start learning that you have control over your brain. And that, I always say, there's the spiritual thought that comes in. There's a spiritual electricity that comes in through the mind. If you cut off your head, put your mind over on the other side of the room and said, okay, brain, think. Your brain could not think by itself. It has to have a spiritual connection and or an incoming thought or an incoming piece that's coming into your space, your biofield, that gives you the thought that then creates the feeling. And what you'll find is that the more you practice this, the more you'll be able to allow that emotion without resisting it. The quicker it'll go, it'll pass, it'll clean. You just feel so much cleaner in how you feel. And then once you have allowed your feelings to flow, that's when you actually start to, again, control and shift them more and more. So that's the second big thing that I want to help you and share with you, which is the most of us think that our emotions just happen to us and that we can't do anything. Like, how do I explain this? We can't really have control of them, or we can't do anything about them. So we go about our lives and we just think, well, I hope I feel good today. I hope I feel happy. I hope the happy bus comes. I hope when I get work, I will feel happier. I feel when I get more money, I will have this joy. I will feel completed when I have a husband. It's just all lies. We don't think we have any say over what emotions we have. So we just go out every day being afraid that the bad ones will happen to us because we think they're terrible, or we just are hoping that some good ones might come and float into our space, or we're trying to exercise control and we're always waiting for doom and gloom. But actually, we have to take control and dominion of our mind first. I choose to be happy, or I am getting better and better every day. You may not be there. I can't choose to just be happy, but I am formulating the chemistry in my brain and in my body to look at things in the perspective that things are getting better and better every day. What am I doing in my direct ecosystem, in my direct relationships, and reflecting on how I maybe didn't handle something so great? Stress is high right now with the salon, and clients are canceling all of these appointments and, all of these things. People don't owe me anything. This is a consequence of nature taking its place. And I have to be okay with that. And I also have to understand they have their own things going on in their life, but they're not there to help me survive. I have to survive on my own. And it's not a blame game. It's just a sense of reality. So, it's kind of like if you're trying to pick up a box and move it, but the box was attached to the ground with a big chain. You're struggling and you're struggling, and you can't move it that way. You can't move a system that's this big, that's this huge. You have to be willing to see where the chain is coming from. You have to see the chain is there, and then put the box down, figure out how to undo the chain first. right? So these are old limiting beliefs. These are old snake thoughts. These are maladaptive frequencies that you're always having doom and gloom thinking processes, feedback loops. You have to allow the emotion first and be real with it. And then start to look at it and start to kind of just peel away each chain link at a time, unwind it so that you can actually be free in your thought, feel free in your emotions. So once you've done that and you're not so freaked out, or you're willing to have or experience your experience, then you can start trying to create the emotions that you want to create on purpose. So, which is very good news, right? So did you know that you actually can feel happy or loving or safe or hopeful or optimistic or joyful, motivated, whatever, fill in your blank, whatever you want to feel by creating that feeling on purpose. Just saying, I feel energized. I feel awesome versus I feel so pissed. You can feel the energy, the frequency there. You have a choice of what you want to tell yourself. And you have to get in front of it. So you don't have to hope it happens to you. You actually can create an emotion on purpose. And the way you do that is by coming up with a thought to think on purpose with intention that will create that emotion for you. Emotion in motion, always be in motion. So just like your negative thoughts create your negative feelings, if something goes through your mind and then you have an emotional response to it. The same is true for positive feelings. If you can have the negative, the other part of that is that you have access to the positive. So if you want to create a positive feeling or just even a neutral feeling, whatever that is for you, you can create that. So you have to do some brainstorming, so to speak. There's a little bit of work here, especially when everybody else is doing the opposite, or people are faking it and you just can see through that. But just be real with yourself. And just being okay with being real, is a relief. I feel the relief of just being able to be with it and be honest with my friends and not have to fake that I'm fine, I'm good, because that's, the Minnesota nice thing to do. So you might have different thoughts at any times that you want to create, but you can create your own emotions on purpose. And I love you and I know that you can do this. And you can create positive emotions by thinking thoughts on purpose, okay? And especially when you are in a very reactive state of mind. For instance, if you're consistently reading the news or watching the news, your brain is just spiraling out of control. So that's another piece, is what are you letting into your field? Who are you letting into your field? What are you watching on Instagram? Do you even need to be on Instagram right now? Everybody's trying to capsulate getting on the lives. Well, it's just a lot of noise. I felt like it's just a lot of noise and people repeating, take more vitamin C. I want to be focused right now. If I have this time where the world is shut down, I want to shut down all of this, really tap into the community that I am really into, that really raises my vibes, and help them raise their vibes so that we can create an awakening, a true awakening in ourselves and others. So it's not just going to happen to you. It happens for you when you bring it about with intention. You can do this and you can do it by yourself. And if you can't do it by yourself, I'm here to help you. I can do a, Zoom call, and we can do a hypnotherapy session. We can just hop on the phone and chat. Whatever you need, I am here for you. So this is a calling. This is a calling around the human mind, the power of the human mind, and what a blessing it is. And I think that we all can take control of that. And we have to step into the driver's role, not just be back in the back of the bus, letting our unconscious brain just drive us all around and just hope for the best. Because really it sounds silly, but that's what we're doing. We're sitting in the back of their brain, just, letting the subconscious mind wheel us around to what it thinks it knows. And it's just trying to survive. So you have to step back in the driver's seat, have to take the wheel, and be willing to experience a negative emotion, neutral emotions, happy emotions, not resist it, not freak out. And then be that fly on the wall. Be ready, be willing, and able to cultivate the positive emotions in your life. So it's kind of like you're going through a breakup. You have to go through that period where you're just fucking crying and it's terrible and you're never going to find another man, which I haven't, but until you're ready to start again, until you're ready and you've worked through that and you're ready to meet someone again. It's the same idea, except a really lot shorter time frame. If that were like contingent on me meeting my perfect husband, which there is none, I'm still waiting for Mr. Functional Medicine to walk into my organic salon and say, "Hey, sweetheart." But that again is unconscious thinking. Just allow the motion, let it flow. Don't resist it. So I hope you found some kind of tidbit from this episode. I just really wanted to get on and really separate the emotions and how we actually can take back control of the emotions. I'm so gifted or so blessed, and gifted isn't the right word. I'm not gifted. I'm learning every day. I am so grateful is the word I was looking for, to have had the training that I've had with hypnotherapy and quantum energy. And, this coronavirus and the cold and flu has a frequency of megahertz around 30 to 40. Cancer's at 40. And a lively brain, a lively body is up, 75 to 80 megahertz. So just focus on that in the morning. I am happy, alive, and grateful. And my body vibrates at 75 megahertz. That's the power that we have to create. I love you. Love and light. Leave me any comments in the rate and review on wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And until next time, stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back. Well, hello, Awaken Beauty. Thank you so much for joining the show today. Were you inspired? Please leave a comment or your own personal aha moment so others can capture exactly what you did. Also, please like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're interested in high quality natural products for your hair, skin, and wellness, including organic CBD, please visit evoquebeauty.com. Again, that is evoquebeauty.com, evoquebeauty.com. And until next time, darling, stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back.